Today I'm actually going to be doing two because they're similar. I'm going to be doing Extemp and oratory, and usually that's the last page of whatever kind of class. Extemp is a lot like what you just saw with improv in the way that it is a non-prepared event, and you do have to draw out of the bucket that he has that he talked about. Except instead of drawing funny topics like there's two pieces of my ice cream cone, you're drawing things like, hey, talk about Bulgarian government, which is a vastly different thing. And that may sound really hard and really difficult and scary and not fun at all, but I started where you guys were, and I didn't like it to begin with, and I grew to love it, and Extemp is one of my favorite things to perform. I am, as of right now, the school extemper, and if any of you have any questions, please come talk to me. I'll be happy to explain anything you need to know. You will walk up and you will draw 3 topics, and then they'll all be random, whether it's domestic or international topics, and you'll basically write a speech about it. They'll give you time, you have about 30 minutes to practice, prepare, research, and then perform your speech. One of the things is when you have research, you'll all have to do this eventually at some point during the year, I think. You'll all have to do extemp research even if you're not performing it. You get a topic and you try to find as much research on a positive and negative side, because they're usually yes or no questions. You want to find as many research from as many topics as you can. And just like all of our pieces have to be literary merit, all of your sources have to be credible sources. Meaning you're not going to be quoting some hobo who lives on the street, you're going to be quoting a news source or someone of power who actually influences the topic you're talking about. Like every other IE event, these are going to be 4 to 6 minutes. You will be able to use a note card. So although this is isn't a prepared thing, and improv doesn't have to use anything, they can't have anything but chairs. Extemp you can. You get one note card, 4x6 note card, and you get to write all of your information on it in whatever way you want to. You have full reign of your note card, front, back, whatever you want. You can only have one though. So you can't have like an entire storybook for you to flip through and read off the page. And like Ms. Gouveia said, forensics kids are never supposed to read off their script, and that includes Extemp. And although you just wrote this and you haven't practiced it very much, you aren't supposed to just read off your card. You did write it, it is your own words, so you should be able to remember a little bit, and the idea is to have contact with your audience so they understand the reason for your speech. And it also does have, not a plot, but it does have like a rise and fall. It will have 3 main points in your speech, an introduction and a conclusion. And every speech you perform will have all of that. And you'll have transitions and whatnot, but it will be an interesting speech to listen to because you will have a passion for it, you can talk about it. And it actually isn't as boring as it sounds. The time limit is 4 to 6, I think I already said that. You do have to have sources cited in the piece. So these credible sources that you have don't matter unless you tell people, hey, I found a source. The research that you do will be considered a source, and when you talk in your speech, you'll say a random fact that has to do with what you're talking about, and then say according to the Huffington Post, according to the New York Times, according to Secretary of Defense, blah, 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 blah. You have to cite who you're talking about. That way the audience understands that you are credible, you do know what you're talking about, and you're not just making facts up. I think that's about it for Extemp. The same thing goes for improv. You have to have your sheet of paper. You have to have it. It'll tell you your room number, they'll tell you how much time you have when you have to be in your room, and they give you your topic. And because Extemp topics are really random, I've gotten things about the drones for Amazon, I've gotten things about African countries under turmoil. It's really important for you to have your topic, that way you can give it to the judge, and they can write down your topic because they are more obscure a lot of times, and they're not things you would hear normally. Can you think of anything else?
I would talk about just being aware of the news at all times, if you're going to be committed to doing Extemp.
Although you will have research and you will have your phone to be able to check things, as of last year you're allowed to do that, you do need to understand what's happening. Because if you're spewing out random facts that don't mean anything, the audience is going to know, or the judges will if they keep in time with the news. So it's important to at least just check out, read your newspaper, watch something on TV. Kyra will know that she sees me doing it sometimes. Sorry to put you on the spot. We will, it's very important for you to have an awareness of the things that you're talking about, even if you've never heard it before. Like the one that I did on Bulgarian government, I don't know much about that. I have never been there, I've never heard anything in the news about it, but I was able to know a lot about the countries that surround each other, and that helped me make my speech. I watched one of the winning speeches last year, and she talked a lot about developing countries and what they needed to survive. And she was talking about a specific country, but the way that she did her speech was completely different from anything I've ever seen before, because she talked in generalizations with lots of examples that she knew personally because she watched the news, and it was very easy to tell that she knew exactly what she was talking about, and then brought it in with the individual country she was actually speaking about. And it was incredible to watch. And although you are talking about something random like international government, they don't all have to be completely serious. A lot of the ones that I do, because it is random and you are putting a lot of time into sources and whatnot, it's fun to make it fun. So a lot of mine will have puns in them in the beginning, or stupid jokes, or one of them, my introduction was the fact that Spider-Man would be a really cool president because, you know, Uncle Ben's quotes and whatnot. It would be, you can bring anything you want into your speech, whether it's news, whether it's past experience, whether it's a random source from a superhero. You can do anything you want, but making it funny also helps bring in the audience. Although it's funny, it does need to be serious at times because you are telling facts. You don't have characters. It's like an oratory, which is what I'm about to do. It's like an oratory that you don't prepare. Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, we're good. Okay, oratory, moving on.